Discover the incredible journey. A black janitor's daughter revives an engine hidden for 15 years. Maya's heart was racing as she pulled away the dust-covered tarp, revealing a long-forgotten engine, like an ancient giant waking from a deep slumber. The sunlight poured in through the shop's grimy windows, illuminating the once proud machinery resting beneath layers of neglect. To Maya, it wasn't just a forgotten piece of metal, it was a glimmer of hope, a chance to breathe new life into their small Midwestern town. For years, she had watched her father, a hard-working janitor, scrub floors and polish surfaces in the local high school, each movement a testament to his unwavering determination. Through laughter-filled coffee breaks and stories woven in love, Maya understood the grind. As she tore through the layers, eager to unearth this relic, Maya felt the warmth of her family's hard-earned lessons wrap around her like a comforting blanket. The engine seemed to pulse with life, whispering promises of adventure and renewal. It was a moving reminder of what was possible when hope and hard work intertwined. Her eyes sparkled with dreams of restoration, of bringing back the engine's roaring glory. Yet, beneath that excitement lurked doubt. What if they lacked the skills? What if she failed? Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Maya didn't let herself wallow in uncertainties for long. With renewed vigor, she enlisted her classmates, rallying them with a fiery passion that lit a spark in their hearts. Together, they painted a vision, a community project that could revive their town's spirit. Laughter filled the shop as they all pitched in, their hands covered in grease and their faces lit with excitement. Maya felt moments of pure joy as they shared pizzas and dreams, thumping fists and cheering each other on. But whispers began to circulate, the silent voices of prejudice creeping into their conversations. Doubt slithered through the group like smoke, whispered fears fueled by the scars of the past. Just as momentum built, Maya's resolve crumbled beneath sharp words during a town hall meeting. The crowd swelled with tension, voices raised like thunder, revealing the class divisions unraveling her efforts. The engine, her vision, became an explosive point of contention. She felt exposed, her heart aching as she gazed at her friend's troubled expressions. Her dream felt fragile, like glass that could shatter at any moment. The silence that followed a deep breath was heavy. Would their differences tear them apart, or could this engine bind their dreams together? As Maya glanced into the sea of faces familiar and strange, hopeful yet weary, she realized that in this moment lay the true test of her spirit. Would they rise to the challenge together, or would this spark extinguish under the weight of hardened opinions? The question loomed, a deep breath settling in her chest, an invitation to transform not just the engine, but their community. The tension in the town hall was thick enough to cut with a knife. Maya stood at the front, heart pounding. Distant murmurs whispered around the room, eyes darting nervously from one face to another. Some were supportive, her friends nodding desperately, while others were skeptical, arms crossed and brows furrowed. "Why should we trust her?" came a voice from the back. It belonged to a man who had always been quick to judge, a shadow that zigzagged in and out of Maya's memories. Her stomach twisted. Maya took a deep breath, gathering her thoughts. "We're not trying to take anything away," she said, finding strength in her words. "This engine could be a symbol of what we can achieve together. It's not just about restoring machinery, it's about restoring hope in our community." A few people shifted in their seats, but the man frowned even more. "Hope doesn't fix our problems. This is just a distraction." The air was electric, and Maya's heart raced anew. Could she really rally these disparate voices? In that moment, she saw her father in her mind, diligently scrubbing the floors day after day, building a life from grit and grace. If anyone could see the potential in this, it was everyone who had endured the weight of hard work. "And what if we succeed?" she asked, her voice catching slightly. What if we transform not just this engine, but the way we connect with each other? We can unite. We can show this town what it truly means to come together. A ripple of energy surged through the crowd. Some faces remained stone-like, but others began to soften, curiosity creeping in. Maya felt a flicker of hope ignite. We can teach each other skills, share knowledge. If we can repair this engine, we can learn to repair divides that have existed too long. The murmurs grew louder, and some folks leaned forward, truly considering her words. Could it be? Could they find common ground? A girl from school raised her hand. I think Maya's right. If we all pitch in and help, we'll make something beautiful. Together. Her voice rang out, timid at first but growing confident. Suddenly, another voice broke through. You're dreaming, kid. People don't change overnight. It was another familiar face, a longtime friend turned adversary, wearing skepticism like skin. Maybe, Maya replied, her voice trembling but determined. Maybe we don't change overnight. But if we start, we can get there. And sometimes, small steps lead to big changes. Silence enveloped the room, punctuated only by the sound of shifting bodies. The weight of 1,000 unspoken fears hung in the air, waiting for their moment. Isn't it worth a chance? Maya continued. What if this engine becomes a part of our town's story, a reminder of every challenge we've faced and every moment we've overcome together? In that charged atmosphere, something shifted. Faces brightened. Curious glances exchanged encouragement. Okay. Let us give it a shot. Someone shouted, and with that, small claps began to ripple through the hall. Maya felt the warmth and strength inside her grow. They could do this, they would do this, but just as excitement began to crystallize and possibilities began to weave a tapestry of hope, an unexpected voice called out from the back, a dark shadow on the horizon. You think this is just going to be easy? There's more beneath the surface than you realize. Maya's heart sank. There was an unknown challenge ahead, something that could derail everything she had worked for. And now, the real battle was just beginning. What other secrets would unfold? How far would their resolve be pushed? The stakes were rising, and the road ahead remained shrouded with uncertainty. The words hung in the air like a dark cloud, heavy and ominous. There's more beneath the surface than you realize. Maya felt the weight of every eyeball in the room turn towards the source of that voice, the sensation prickling at the back of her neck. You don't know what has happened to this engine, the man continued, stepping forward, shadows dancing beneath the harsh lights above. His expression was a simmering cauldron of frustration and mistrust. You think you can just waltz in here, wave your hands, and convince us to fix something that has been broken for years? What if there are reasons it's been left to rot? Her pulse quickened as uncertainty flooded through her. She prepared for resistance, but this was not just skepticism, it was a veiled threat. What do you mean? She managed to ask, trying to keep her voice steady. He paused, scanning the room like a hawk searching for prey. I mean, this engine is part of the town's history, but it's also tied up in politics, rivalries, and, frankly, corruption. Messing with it might just stir up a hornet's nest. Maya felt her earlier confidence begin to waver. Were there really shadows lurking behind this seemingly innocent ambition? Perhaps she had underestimated the depth of this challenge. But as doubt crept in, she clung to the flicker of hope significantly stronger than before. But if it's surrounded by all those issues, isn't that all the more reason to try? To bring everyone together instead of letting the past keep us divided? Some in the crowd nodded thoughtfully, their expressions turning from skepticism to curiosity. She noticed her friends leaning in, their collective breath creating a tapestry of shared determination. Yet the man wasn't finished. Together, sure, he shot back, almost spitting the words. But do you think it's always that simple? What if those who control it don't want change? What if they fight back? Maya's heart sank further. She hadn't considered this aspect. Then we need to be prepared, she replied cautiously, trying to mask the tremor in her voice. If we stand united, we can face whatever comes. That's how we make a difference. A murmuring began to rise and fall around her like a tide. Whispers of agreement mingled with concerns. She could see flickers of belief in people's eyes, but she also noticed the shadow's lingering suspicion breeding caution. The man folded his arms, leaning against the wall. You'll need more than just hope, Maya. You'll need a plan. A real plan. And if this thing has roots in something darker, you'll have to confront that too. His words struck like ice water, jolting her senses. What had she gotten them into? But even amidst growing fears, a spark ignited inside her. It was the call to action, pushing through darkness to shed a light. Then we will confront it, Maya stated boldly, emboldened by a chorus of voices rising up around her. We can take this one step at a time. It might not be easy, but it could lead to something beautiful. And I believe we can do it together. An elderly woman stood up slowly, her weathered hands shaking but resolute. If there's a risk, it must be worth taking. This town has waited long enough. With that, a ripple of response surged through the crowd. Yes. Another voice shouted, then another. Maya felt the warmth of unity spread through her, making her insides glow like an engine on the verge of revival, but just as momentum built, the man shot back. Be careful. Some things are better left alone. You don't know what darkness might come. Maya took a deep breath, determination flooding her heart. Embracing the weight of the challenge ahead, she vowed to herself and the community gathered there. Then let us find out together and see that darkness doesn't win. As the murmurs turned to cheers, for a moment, hope bounced back from the shadows that had threatened to consume it. Yet deep down, a nagging question lingered in her mind: what darkness lay beneath, waiting to be unearthed? The path ahead wasn't just about fixing an engine but unveiling deeper secrets that might just threaten everything they hoped to build together. Maya stepped down from the makeshift stage, adrenaline still buzzing in her veins. The cheers echoed in her ears, a tapestry woven with threads of hope and fear. She locked eyes with her friends, their expressions a mix of excitement and concern. Did I say too much? She murmured, more to herself than to them. No, Michael replied, confidence etched in his tone. You lit a fire out there. People needed to hear that. But even he couldn't fully mask the flicker of worry in his eyes. The man from before loomed large in her thoughts, his skepticism echoing like a drumbeat. Just promise me you'll tread carefully, Lisa added, biting her lips slightly. It sounds like there's more at stake than we know. Nodding, Maya took a deep breath. The discussions held after the initial rally would be crucial. If they were to unearth the secrets surrounding the engine, they needed a strategy. Let South regroup at my place tonight, she said, gesturing for them to follow as the crowd began to disperse. We'll brainstorm a plan and lay the groundwork. If there's a chance to ignite change, we should seize it. The four of them walked in silence, each step weighing heavy with unspoken questions. As they neared her home, the sun dipped low, painting the sky with hues of oranges and purples, the beauty stark against the rising tension in her heart. Inside, she took off her jacket and flung it across a chair. The familiar warmth of home wrapped around her. Grab whatever you want to drink. We'll need all the brainpower we can muster. The laughter that followed was a light balm against the severity of their mission, but as the minutes ticked by and they each settled down, silence crept back in like an uninvited guest. So where do we even begin? Michael finally broke the stillness. I think our first step should be to gather more information, maybe reach out to some older folks who've lived here longer. They might have insight. Maya nodded, a plan quickly forming. I can talk to my dad too. He's always had an ear to the ground with town politics. The thought filled her with warmth, memories of her father guiding her through tough situations flooding her mind. He had always taught her the value of understanding the past before stepping into the future. As for the engine itself, we need to find someone who knows how to fix it or at least knows how it broke in the first place, Lisa suggested, furrowing her brow in thought. Maybe we can convince some local mechanics to take a look. Ideas began to flow more freely, excitement building as they mapped out strategies and potential obstacles. But still, that specter hung over them, the man's words, warnings of darkness and caution. What if we pull some old town records? Maya proposed suddenly. There must be documents or something that explains its history or the scandals behind it. At that, Michael perked up. Yes. And if we can find that, we could understand who's benefiting from this destruction and why they want to keep it under wraps. The room buzzed with energy as they continued tossing around ideas, each one emphasizing a commitment to unity and change. But in the back of Maya's mind, worry bubbled. What if they were met with resistance deeper than they anticipated? As if sensing her unacknowledged fears, Lisa placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder. You've got this, Maya. We all do. Whatever comes, we'll face it together. With a hopeful smile, Maya felt a flicker of resolve. They would shine a light on the truths hidden in the shadows, even if it meant confronting their own community's demons, but that flicker dimmed momentarily when she remembered the firestorm brewing outside. Could they really prepare for the backlash that might come? Okay, she breathed, let us get to work. Together, we'll not only fix the engine but whatever else is broken in our town. With a determined nod, they dove into their plans, unaware of the storm gathering on the horizon, waiting patiently to test their resolve. As they brainstormed, whispers of danger slipped into their discussions, a truth that would soon reveal itself, reshaping not just their project but their lives. What if confrontation became inevitable? Would they rise together or crumble under pressure? The answer might change everything. Maya leaned over the coffee table, papers strewn everywhere, her heart racing as the discussions took shape. Michael sketched out a timeline, making notes of potential contacts, while Lisa and Jordan took turns brainstorming questions they needed answered. Okay, we should start tomorrow, Maya said, tapping her fingers nervously on a stray piece of paper. I'll talk to my dad about the engine. See if he knows anyone who might have worked on it back when it broke. She trailed off, her gaze drifting to the window, where darkness started to settle in, thick and foreboding. Good plan, Lisa replied, her voice steady. And I can swing by the library for those records. They have boxes of old archives. Maybe we can find something buried there. Maya's chest tightened. The library. It felt both like another world and an essential part of this one, a place where stories were stored, even ones they might not want to hear. And what about mechanics? The ones we might recruit? Jordan shrugged, a hint of a smile dancing on his lips. We charm em, right? Tell em it's for the good of the town. If they see us working together, they might want to jump on board. The room let out a collective chuckle, but Maya felt the weight of gravity pressing down. What if it doesn't go as planned? What if the people we reach out to don't want to talk? Or worse, they try to shut us down? Michael paused, his pencil hovering over the paper. Then we keep going. We find another angle. We can't lose sight of why we're doing this. Maya nodded, but a shadow of doubt lingered. The man's face materialized in her mind, his words echoing still. Who was he to threaten their dreams? As they continued to jot down ideas, the door swung open, and the energy shifted. Maya's dad stepped inside, a mix of surprise and warmth in his gaze. What is going on here? A secret meeting without me? Maya's heart leaped. Dad, we actually need your help. We're trying to uncover what happened to the engine behind Town Hall. His brow creased with concern. I've heard a couple of things, but most are just rumors. You three really shouldn't be getting involved in this. The sternness in his voice sent a chill through her. But we have to, she insisted, feeling the heat rise to her cheeks. People are losing hope. If we can show them that change is possible, even the smallest engine can drive a big difference. Her father studied her, as if weighing the gravity of her words against the wisdom of caution. "Listen, sweetie. I want you to be brave, but be careful. Some things are buried for a reason. And if you're poking around, it's possible you'll attract attention from people who don't want to be disturbed." Maya looked at her friends, shared worry reflected in their eyes. "We're ready for anything, Dad. We have each other." After a long, heavy moment, he sighed, softening. "Okay. I'll share what I know. But remember, once you start digging, you might not like what you find." The room felt electric. This was at the first step towards something bigger. Maya could already sense the wheels of change turning, but who knew what might come from it? The haunting possibility of unwanted truths loomed like a shadow. As her dad settled in to share stories she hadn't heard before, a voice cut through the night, sharpening her thoughts. What if the real truth is hidden in plain sight? Maya froze. Wasn't he that what they were digging for? Uncovering the truths buried beneath the surface? With flickering lights mimicking her racing heart, she prepared herself for the road ahead, feeling both exhilarated and anxious about the journey they were embarking on. But little did she know this was just the calm before a torrent of revelations that would put their unity to the ultimate test. What were the lengths people would go to in order to keep their secrets safe? Would they have the courage to face it? Maya sat at the edge of her seat, heart pounding as her dad began to recount stories she had only heard whispers of. The words spilled out, ancient memories wrapped in nostalgia, but laced with a heavy hint of warning. Back then, he started slowly, the engine was more than just a machine. It represented hope for many families in this town. Lisa leaned in closer, her eyes wide with curiosity. "Hope? What do you mean?" Her dad took a deep breath. The engine was part of a project that promised jobs and growth. But something went wrong. Real wrong. People talked about a deal that fell through and personal stakes that turned ugly. He hesitated, the shadows in his eyes deepening. "Some folks say that everyone involved wanted to forget what happened." Maya's stomach twisted. Forget? How could they forget something that hurt people so much? "Sometimes it's easier," he replied, his voice thick with resignation. "But that's not the way forward. Too many lives depend on it." Michael tapped the table thoughtfully, breaking the charged silence that filled the room. "We need to find out what happened, then. If we want the town to rally behind us, we can't let history repeat itself." The air thickened with anticipation. They weren't just digging up old bones, they were unearthing a part of their town's identity. Maya felt a surge of determination rush through her veins. This was bigger than just them. Lives had been changed, dreams shattered, and now it was time to piece together the past to mend the present. Jordan's voice broke into her thoughts. "What if we start at the community center? People gathered there when the engine was last being used. There must be people left who know something, anything." Maya nodded, gripping the table for support. "I could talk to my aunt. She's been here forever. She might have seen things, heard things. Bottom line is, we can't approach this like it's some casual stroll," Lisa said, her voice steady but serious. "We need to be prepared for whatever we uncover." "Right," Maya agreed, feeling both excitement and dread mingle within her. "We need to protect ourselves. If we stir things up, we might just open a can of worms." Her father nodded solemnly. "Stay together. Don't take unnecessary risks. People have a way of slithering into shadows when things get hot. You'll have to tread carefully." As their discussion continued, a weight settled on Maya's shoulders, heavy yet motivating. In this quest to uncover truth, they might be pulling back the curtain on more than just an old engine. They could be shining a light on the kind of hidden pain that had haunted their community for years. Before long, the conversation turned to logistics: who would go where, when they meet again, and how they would share what they learned. But in the back of Maya's mind lingered a question that wouldn't let go: were they truly ready to face the secrets lurking in the town? As they wrapped up for the night, Maya felt a shiver run down her spine. It seemed strange how the journey had already begun, even before they set foot outside. She found herself staring at the faded photograph on the wall, a snapshot of the community center in happier times. Ah, there it was clinging tightly to the smiles, the laughs. Tomorrow, she whispered to herself, heart racing with both fear and hope. We'll start tomorrow. Stepping into the cool night air, the group dispersed with murmurs of encouragement, leaving Maya alone with her thoughts. Her heart thudded in her chest. And as she turned to head inside, she heard a voice echoing from the shadows near the streetlight. You really think you can uncover everything? Be careful what truths you look for. Maya's breath caught in her throat. Who was that? With a mix of dread and curiosity unfurling within her, she knew the real journey was just beginning. Would she have the strength to confront the darkness that lurked ahead? Maya stood frozen, her heart racing as the shadows shifted. The voice belonged to an older man, his silhouette barely illuminated under the flickering streetlight. Clenching her fists, she took a cautious step forward. Who are you? She called out, her voice steadier than she felt. The figure emerged from the darkness, revealing a weathered face etched with lines of age and experience. He looked familiar, though she couldn't quite place him. Just someone who's seen too much, he replied, his eyes locking onto hers, intensifying the mystery. You kids need to turn back while you can. No, she shook her head defiantly. We need to know what happened, why this town has been stuck in the past. If you're here to warn us, maybe you should tell us what you know. For a moment, he studied her, his expression shifting from apprehension to a glimmer of respect. Curiosity is one hell of a fire, he said softly, glancing down the street as if expecting trouble. But it can burn you if you're not careful. Maya felt her stomach churn, a mix of anxiety and excitement. What do you mean? Are you connected to the old engine? Connected? The man chuckled, a sound that felt heavy with unshared burdens. It's more like I was trapped in it. Back when everything fell apart, I was just a janitor trying to keep my head down. Something clicked in her mind. You worked at the community center? Yeah, for years. I watched people's lives unravel around me as that project crashed and burned. Some lost everything. He turned serious, casting a wary glance towards the direction the group had gone. You kids might think digging in the dirt is going to bring light. But trust me, some secrets were buried for a reason. Maya could sense the weight of his caution sinking deep into her bones. But if no one speaks up, it'll happen again. Don't you think we owe it to those who suffered to understand? He nodded slowly, considering her words. It's not just about knowing. It's about what you do with that knowledge. Some truths ignite change. Others can destroy. With each moment passing, the gravity of his words settled heavier on her shoulders. Then what should we do? Go to your aunt, he finally said, a sadness creeping into his voice. She knows more than you think. Listen, but be ready. Not everyone wants the past to resurface. It can be dangerous. As he turned to leave, anxiety gripped her again. Wait. She called out, desperate to hold on to this thread of wisdom. What is your name? Just call me Sam, he said over his shoulder, and remember, knowledge can be a double-edged sword. Silence enveloped the street again as he slipped back into the shadows, leaving Maya shivering with mixed emotions. She was more determined than ever to uncover the town's past, yet a sense of foreboding crept in. With every step towards home, her mind raced. Would her aunt truly have the answers? Would she be prepared for the secrets that could tear their lives apart? The next morning, Maya gathered her courage. She texted Michael and Lisa, telling them what she had heard, but kept Sam's warning to herself. They were fired up and ready to go. After a hasty breakfast, she hurried out the door, her heart pounding with uncertainty. As they approached the community center, an eerie feeling wrapped around her like a cloak. It loomed in front of them, a husk of what it once was, yet somehow vibrant with stories waiting to be told. Okay, we stick together, Maya said, determination filling her voice. Whatever we find today could change everything for our town. Before they could step inside, a loud crash echoed from within, as if something had fallen. They exchanged glances, their expressions shifting from anticipation to fear. "Did you hear that?" Lisa whispered. Maya bit her lip, her instincts screaming caution. "We have to see what that was." And with her heart racing, they stepped into the unknown, ready to unearth what had been buried for so long, but at what cost. Inside the community center, the air felt thicker, almost electric. Dust floated in beams of light that struggled through grimy windows. The loud crash had silenced their earlier excitement, leaving only the echo of uncertainty in its wake. Maya took the lead, her pulse thrumming in her ears, while Michael and Lisa followed, their eyes darting around for signs of who or what could have caused the sound. "Maybe it was just a chair or something," Michael whispered, trying to ease the tension that hung like a heavy fog. But Maya could see that he didn't believe it either. This place had a history, one that felt alive and breathing, as if it had stories writhing beneath the surface, just waiting to be unleashed. "Maya, maybe we should just," Lisa started, her voice trailing off as another sound pierced the stillness. This time, it was accompanied by a low groan, like the building itself was protesting their presence. "No turning back now," Maya replied, a mix of defiance and fear igniting her resolve. They moved further into the building, the hushed tones of their conversation dissolving into the air. They reached the heart of the center, a large unlit room where the remnants of forgotten community gatherings lingered in shadows. Piles of tables and chairs leaned against the walls, covered in sheets that looked as if they had been sleeping for years. The floor creaked beneath their feet, each step sounding like a warning. Suddenly, they spotted the cause of the noise. A rusted filing cabinet had toppled over, spilling its contents across the floor. Papers fluttered like distressed birds, scattering in every direction. Maya knelt down, her hands trembling as she reached for one of the papers that had caught her eye. Written in bold letters on the faded page was, "Town Hall Meeting 2005 Project Engine," along with a list of names. Her heart dropped. This was it. This was what Sam meant by buried secrets. The names could belong to anyone, the town leaders who had overseen the project, or possibly those who had been affected by its failure. "Guys, look at this!" she exclaimed, excitement mingling with dread. Michael and Lisa rushed over, scanning the paper in her hand. "If this is about the engine, it must mean there are more documents around here," Michael said, a spark igniting in his eyes. Just then, as they rifled through the mess, a figure emerged from the shadows, a woman with steel-gray hair tied back in a tight bun. Her eyes narrowed as she took in the scene before her. "What are you kids doing here?" Maya's breath hitched. It was her aunt, Patricia, who had worked tirelessly to keep the community together after the collapse of the engine project. The woman who had chosen to remain silent about the past. "Aunt Patricia." Maya stammered, rising to face her. "We're just trying to what?" Her aunt cut in, voice sharp, disapproval etched across her face. "Trying to dredge up old wounds. Some things are better left forgotten, Maya." Beneath her aunt's fierce demeanor, Maya sensed an underlying fear that shadows of the past might come crawling back. But she couldn't back down now. "We need to know the truth. People deserve to understand what happened. If we don't speak about it, how do we prevent it from happening again?" For a moment, silence reigned, heavy and loaded. Then her aunt's expression softened, a flicker of something like understanding crossing her features. "You think you're ready for that?" she asked quietly, a mix of challenge and curiosity in her tone. Maya's heart raced. "We want to help." Before she could finish, a sudden, shuddering bang reverberated through the walls, knocking dust from the ceiling. Tears filled her aunt's eyes as she stepped back, fear replacing her resolve. "You have no idea what you're asking for." Maya felt a chill creep down her spine. Whatever secrets were lurking beneath the surface, they were more dangerous than she had anticipated. The past was clawing its way back into their lives, and they might not all walk away unscathed. As her aunt turned and stormed out of the room, Maya's determination burned brighter amidst the uncertainty. Whatever lay ahead was going to shake them to the core. "Was that really your aunt?" Michael asked quietly, his face pale. "Yes, but she didn't say no," Maya replied, her voice stronger than she felt. "It's a start." They all hesitated, knowing that one step deeper into this darkness could change everything. The weight of their discovery hung in the air, thick with possibilities and dread. And as they prepared to delve further into the wild unknown of their town's history, the question lingered in Maya's mind: what would they uncover that might change everything they knew about themselves, and each other? Maya's throat felt tight as she watched her aunt disappear through the door. The room seemed to shrink, and the dust settled heavier around them, almost suffocating. She inhaled deeply, trying to shake off the tension in her chest. "We need to keep going," she said, her voice steadier than she felt. Michael's eyes widened. "Are you sure? I mean, that bang, it felt like a warning." "Or a signal that we're on the right track," Maya countered, a hard edge creeping into her tone. She could feel Michael's fear, and a part of her wanted to comfort him, but the adrenaline was pumping in her veins. "This isn't just about us anymore. There's something here that people need to know." Lisa nodded, clutching Maya's arm. "If your aunt is scared, then maybe it really is important." Maya glanced around the room. The scattered papers whispered of secrets, and the filing cabinet loomed like a locked treasure chest. "Let us find more. There has to be something else that can help us figure this out." As they began sifting through the rubble, Maya's heart raced with each paper she turned over. Some had faded images of community events, while others held faded print where names could barely be deciphered. But then, nestled amongst the clutter, she found another paper, a report dated just before the project engine was shut down. The words liability, failed inspections, and missing funds leapt off the page at her. "What does it say?" Michael leaned closer, his brows furrowing. "It talks about all the problems they had with the engine before it was finished. They knew it was risky, but they did it anyway," Maya whispered, her pulse quickening. "Risky how?" Lisa asked, her voice low and cautious. "Look," Maya pointed to a section where it detailed the accidents that had happened during the project. They mentioned injuries and, most alarming, the unexplained deaths of 2 workers. The room felt colder, the shadows deeper. Maya swallowed hard, feeling an icy knot in her stomach. They knew, and still went ahead. This could have ruined lives. "We have to show this to someone." Michael looked around, shifting uneasily. "What if your aunt is right? What if some things really are better left alone?" "No." Maya burst, frustration rising in her chest. "If we don't uncover this, we're letting them keep hiding. This is about justice for all those people who suffered. But what if it puts us in danger? What if we attract unwanted attention?" Lisa chimed in, her voice trembling slightly. This was real, and she could see their fear reflected in their expressions. Maya took a breath, steadying herself. "Staying silent isn't bravery. We can't just walk away." Just as she spoke, another loud crash echoed from the back of the community center. They all jumped, hearts racing anew. "What was that?" Lisa whispered, wide-eyed. "I don't know," Maya replied, glancing over her shoulder. The shadows that had seemed benign moments ago now loomed large and threatening. "But we need to find out." They cautiously moved towards the source of the sound. Adrenaline turns fear into fuel. The breath caught in Maya's throat as the door swung open with a creak, revealing a dim, narrow hallway. The atmosphere felt charged with electricity. "What if we shouldn't?" Michael hesitated, but Maya was already stepping forward. "Just a little further," she urged, every nerve ending alight with a mix of fear and determination. As they ventured deeper, a flicker of movement made them pause. The silhouette of a figure darted behind a door at the end of the hall. Was it friend or foe? The questions crashed in her mind like waves, pressing onwards. The stakes suddenly felt higher. They weren't just uncovering history. They were stumbling towards something darker, something that threatened to change everything. Maya turned to her friends, their expressions a blend of fear and resolve. Whatever happens, we face it together. And together, they stepped into the darkness, ready to confront what awaited them, unaware that the truth would challenge their bonds and unravel the fabric of their town. What awaited them beyond that door? Could be a breakthrough or a nightmare. Maya's heart thundered in her chest as they approached the door, uncertainty swirling through her mind. The flickering shadows danced around them, heightening the tension that seemed to hold the air in a taut grip. It was more than just personal ambition now, this was a collective mission, one that could reshape their entire community. On three, she whispered, adrenaline fueling her resolve. 1, 2, 3. She flung the door open, revealing a dimly lit room filled with old machinery and forgotten debris. Dust hung in the air like ancient secrets waiting to be revealed. They stepped inside, the faint scent of oil and rust hitting them like a nostalgic embrace. Excitement and fear mingled as they scanned the space. And then they saw it, a large wooden crate pushed against the far wall, the words confidential painted in bold letters across its side. A soft murmur of disbelief slipped from Maya's lips. This has to be it. Moving carefully, they approached the crate, the floor creaking underfoot. Should we really open it? Lisa asked, her voice trembling slightly. Michael stepped forward, determination etched on his face. We've come this far. We can't back down now. Maya nodded, feeling the collective weight of their decisions. Together, she affirmed, reaching for the latch on the crate. It creaked ominously as she released it, the lid lifting slowly, like the yawning of a great beast. Inside, stacks of files and blueprints lay scattered. Maya picked up a stack, her hands shaking. The words Project Engine Final Report loomed in bold letters. It's all here. She gasped, flipping through the pages, her heart racing as she uncovered details about the project that had never seen the light of day. Look at this, she said, pointing to a paragraph detailing negligence. They knew about these issues and still pushed forward. Emily leaned closer, squinting at the faded text. But this doesn't just accuse the town leaders, Michael said, it implicates people who may still be in power. This is explosive. Suddenly, the echoes from before reverberated through the hall, the sound of hurried footsteps. Maya's breath caught, reality crashing back with force. We need to leave, she urged, fear creeping into her voice. No, Lisa insisted, determination shining through her nervousness. We can't let this go. This could be everything. Before they could formulate a plan, the door swung open with a bang. There stood her aunt, Patricia, flanked by two other townsfolk. Maya's heart sank at the sight of their familiar faces, shadowed with tension. I told you to stay away from here. Her aunt's voice tore through the air, filled with a mix of anger and concern. Maya took a step forward, fueled by the urgency of the moment. Aunt Patricia, we're just trying to uncover what really happened. If we don't stop. Patricia raised her hand, her face etched with worry. There are things you don't understand. You're playing with fire. Looking behind her aunt, Maya saw the others were not just watching, they were armed with resentment and fear, ready to defend their secrets. No, Maya asserted, her heart swelling with courage. We can't let fear stop us. The people deserve to know what really happened here. Her friends backed her up, forming a united front. We know you lived it, Aunt, Lisa chimed in, but lives were shattered. We can't let that continue. Tension crackled in the air, and for a moment, the fight felt palpable. Patricia's expression softened, her voice quivering. I lost people I loved. I thought burying the past was the only way to protect you. But maybe keeping it buried has only hurt the town more. The crowd shifted, whispers rippling through the room. Hesitantly, her aunt stepped closer. But once you start, there's no going back. You need to promise me you'll be careful. Maya felt a wave of relief, the beginnings of understanding swelling in the air. We promise. Just then, the door behind them crashed open again with a heavy foot. A man Maya recognized, one of the skeptics from town hall, burst into the room. "What is going on here?" he demanded, eyes scanning the scene of unrest. Maya's heart dropped. "It's not what you think, we've heard enough," he barked, striding forward, ready to challenge them. "You kids have no idea what you're meddling with." "Yes, we do," Maya shot back, the fire igniting in her belly once more. "We know more than you want us to. We're bringing this truth to light." The room fell silent, the gravity of her words hanging heavily. In the fraught silence, a flicker of uncertainty passed over the man's face, revealing cracks in his hard exterior. Truth? Or chaos? Truth, she emphasized, heart racing, yet calm pulsing through her veins. The kind that heals and connects people. We're ready to face whatever comes from it together. Patricia stepped in now, her voice steady and resolute. "This town is tired of hiding. If we hold together, we might just mend what has been broken for too long." The man stepped back, wrestling with the enormity of what lay ahead. And then, in a deep draw of breath, something shifted. A sense of unity surged. A spark ignited, the engine of change was roaring to life, fueled by courage and community. Maya could feel the momentum building, hope rising from the shadows. With her friends beside her, and their community slowly awakening, she knew this was the moment they had all been waiting for. "Let us start the conversation," she said, voice steady, igniting a shared venture that would take them toward restoration. The cycle of fear had only one way forward: transformation. And as they stepped outside together, the dawning sun bathed them in warmth and light, signifying not just a new day but a new beginning for their town. United, they were ready to face the darkness lurking beneath and shining brighter together than they ever could alone. If this story inspires you, you need to subscribe immediately to the channel. Don't wait not even one more second. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and let it know you're all in for more incredible tales. I want to hear from you. Comment below with your reactions and feelings about this ending. And don't forget to share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. This is the moment to show your support.